The first speaker is Kelly Hunter. Subject of remarks is bullying. Ms. Hunter, good evening. Please approach the podium. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Kelly Hunter. Thank you, President Baker, Vice President Stewart, Treasurer Rucker, member of the board, and Superintendent Dr. Good. Thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. I'm here on a serious matter that I would like to bring attention to and address, and it's on bullying. Not children bullying, but I'm talking about bullying in the workplace. As I was reading the Columbus City Schools homepage and came across Dr. Good's goal for the district, goal number 2 jumped out at me. Learning environment must be student-centered, efficient, and stable. That is when I realized we cannot meet this goal if there is bullying in the workplace. Most research that has been done on the topic has been in the corporate world. We may not be corporate, but children are our business. As I researched continued, I found that anti-bullying laws are growing since the Miami Dolphin, Jonathan Martin, left his team. Most feel that bullying is racial slurs, sexual harassment, and this is true. And these are protected by laws, and there's laws that say that that is not allowed. But bullying goes much further. The research done by Workplace Bullying Institute states that bullying takes form of verbal abuse, offensive conduct, behavior, including nonverbal, which are threatening, humiliating, or intimidating, or even work sabotage, which prevents work from getting done. This we cannot have in a classroom or a school building. Why is bullying bad for education? When one is bullied, the individual suffers physically, emotionally, psychologically. The individual finds themselves being frustrated, angry, with anxiety, inability to concentrate, and there are plenty more. But the point I would like to make tonight is we cannot have an environment conducive to learning when individuals have these feelings. Not only is that not fair for the individual, but it's not fair for our students. In closing, there are many things that can be done to prevent bullying in the workplace. I had asked the liaison to please give you a copy of the research done by Workplace Bullying Institute. I would like you to please consider this as a topic for our district. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hunter. Are there clarifying questions from board members for Ms. Hunter? Thank you very much for speaking this evening. We appreciate it. Our next speaker is Ava Johnson, and the subject of her remarks, school renovations and school acquisitions. Ms. Johnson, good evening.
Good evening, President Baker, Vice President Stewart, Treasurer Rucker, members of the board, Superintendent Good. My name is Ava Johnson, and I represent the Greater Southeast Area Task Force and its respective communities. We live in the Independence, Liberty, Yorktown school area. First, I want to thank you for the recent community meetings and for your decision not to close the high school Refugee Road. The community, schools, students, parents, businesses have all been energized and awakened. We thank you for your individual and collective visits and for listening to all of our concerns. We especially thank Dr. Good, Board Member Cole, and Director Stoddard for coming to the high school's rededication event on March 22nd. It shows solidarity and support. We know there's a lot of work to do, and the attendance and performance will be monitored. Principal West, with the help of his team, are making great strides. The students are becoming more involved in the community. There's a focus on achievement, and postcards have been mailed to every student not currently attending the high school to consider attending the school next year. The purpose of my visit today is to ask that the look of the school be updated. The last time the high school's exterior was painted was 2007. The track is in horrible condition. I need to lose some weight. I would love to run on the track, but I can't do that. Layers of tarp come up when you walk on the track. The community can't use it at all. The stadium seats look like they could collapse, and basketball hoops don't have nets. The entrance doors are scratched and lackluster. It looks like a school that you would not want to attend. It looks like a school out of a war zone. Inside, the ceilings need a fresh coat of paint. Now, we know attendance is being monitored, and again, if we are to attract new students to increase our enrollment, we respectfully ask that you give the school a facelift, inside and out, as soon as possible, and especially before the start of the new school year. The students, teachers, and administrators are doing their part, but now the school needs to look the part. The community, along with the businesses, are willing to help. We'll plant flowers, we'll pick up litter, but we need your help to help the building reflect the enthusiasm of the school and the community. My last request is that you allow the community to lease the elementary school on Mayberry Road. It was a decision of the board to close the school. We are in desperate need of a community center, and the school backs up to a park. Lastly, I want to applaud your family literacy meetings and your Reading Buddy program. I am going to become a reading buddy in the community, and I'm putting together an effort to recruit more reading buddies from the community. I would ask that you consider taking the family literacy meetings around the community and perhaps giving books to families or have a family readathon to spur more interest. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Johnson. Are there clarifying questions from board members?
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good evening. Our next speaker is Ron Soldwich. The subject of his remarks, the two principals that were fired. Good evening, Mr. Soldwich.
Good evening. I address the board, the Columbus School Board, who's basically failed to do your job and lead our school district in a manner that we thought we would get. Dr. Good, you've done some, you've got a lot of work to do. You still showed a failure to lead in my book because you still got 3/4 or 3 times the people that you fired that are still working here, that, as we all know, cheated our children out of a quality educational opportunity. Treasurer Rucker didn't believe in 412 certificates until it was brought up, so I address you too. Thank you. Special Auditor Smith, you have doing a courageous, great job. We do appreciate it very much. I came here tonight to speak of the ridiculousness of the suit brought against the school district, excuse me, by Tiffany Chavers and Pamela Diggs. Ms. Diggs, I believe, was quoted saying, I was told what to do by my district supervisor and given a rationale. I've got a good friend of mine that retired as a bus driver with the Columbus City School District, and she was told if somebody tells you to do something wrong, don't do it. You won't get in trouble. But apparently it's do as I say, not as I do, and the people that can do what they want to do and break the law, get by with it, still on a payroll, have no penalty to pay, don't have to worry about their pension. You'll let them stick around until they want to retire so they don't lose any of their pension. You know, I mean, ridiculous. I don't really think you have anything to worry about there. The only thing that was a little bit more ridiculous that was Gary Baker. You had a thing to papers. I'm happy to report that we are already well on our way. You said, while terminations and disciplinary actions make headlines, many critical but less attention-grabbing steps have already been taken to make sure such misdeeds cannot happen again. I don't see them, but you said that terminations and disciplinary actions make headlines. They're not making headlines. They're a display of your leadership and the people's leadership who were on the school board, okay? 2 years ago, this coming July, came out that former Superintendent Harris admitted there was millions of children's records, millions of changes were made to our children's personal files were made. She acknowledged it. By the actions of the Ohio auditor, it was a foregone conclusion. It was breaking the law. You guys did nothing. What we expect people to do as board members is to be community activists. When things go wrong, something is wrong, going on that's wrong, you stand up, even if you're by yourself, you say, that's not right, we're going to do something about it. Okay, that's what we expect. That's not what happened. That's not what's happening now. As the Ohio auditor, Yost said, come on, lead. Stand up and lead your district. Do it for your children. I don't know what other excuse you could call it, but what you did was nothing for our children at the time, but to allow this charade to go on. And anyhow, okay.
Thank you for your comments this evening,
Okay.
Mr. Solich. Are there any clarifying questions from board members? Thank
Sure.
you. Good
I'm
night.
not shy, I'm ready.
Thank you very much for coming down to speak tonight.
Thanks a lot.
Our next speaker is Thomas Mustrick, and the subject of his remarks is meeting arranged to add to student guide to positive behavior. Welcome back. Good evening.
Good evening. President Baker, Vice President Stewart, Treasurer Rucker, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Dan Good, and Jason Smith. I want to welcome all of you to invite me to here to speak on the topic of regarding the weapon ray gun listing in the Student Guide to Positive Behavior as a necessary step that's been determined by our City Safety Director, Mitchell Brown, who in a conversation said it needs to be on the list. In conversations with our city attorney, Pfeiffer, he stated that he would be willing to sit down and review the laws, review the penalties, and review the consequences of the student guide to make sure that everything is in balance with the laws of the state of Ohio and the city of Columbus. This is an important step. Yes, I was the source of the facts to the Columbus School Board on the incident at a Carl Road High School where a high-energy directed radio wave weapon, military grade, was tested on our children, in the presence of our children, on me for bullying, as a bullying weapon, because I did pre-9/11 intelligence, which doesn't really concern us. The main thing is, I did get an apology from President Bush this last couple months back indirectly, which I think was an important step to the healing process. I didn't know about this weapon. I had to call 60 Minutes to ask them to investigate what I saw, matched with what I got reports of, finding out that this weapon was developed by Battelle, tested in Vietnam, used at Fort Meade in the 80s on 19 medics to cause them to fall to the ground when they were ordered to charge a building, and retrofitted on all our speaker trucks used in Iraq in 2005 of June. This is a horrible weapon. It should not be used in our city schools. It should be off our streets, and I support both our city attorney and Judge Pfeiffer, and I want to share the good news, too, that our superintendent, Dr. Dan Good, has agreed that we have a spring meeting with our gentleman to discern the proper way in which this should be deliberated, and that is through education. That's what I'm about, that's what we're doing, and that's where I need to have your help and support. We want it to not only become this school as the leadership, and I'm sorry to say that we have to do that, but that's where the history is. And we may not be happy with our past history, but we're going to change. I think it's remarkable the way what you're doing at the East High School, for example. it wasn't involved, but I saw developments there the last time I gave a talk here, and I'm really impressed. I might come back to teach. Listen, I want to thank you. I'm not going to, if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them at this time.
Are there any clarifying questions from board members?
Okay, thank you, Richard.
Thank you, Mr. Mustrick. Have a good evening. Thank you. Are there any other speakers that signed up? Okay. Very good. The chair will entertain a motion to adjourn the community linkage meeting.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Madam Treasurer, would you like to call the roll?
Mr. Baker?
Yes?
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Ms. Gibbs?
Yes.
Ms. Hudson?
Yes.
Mr. Peretti?
Yes.
Ms. Reyes? Motion carries.